Let's support the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration.
Leavenmouth Academy was a highly commended entry for innovation in the delivery of a sustainable learning space at the Learning Places Scotland Awards in November of 2022. Mr. Zool gave a talk at the Learning Places Scotland conference, and this is a version of what he said there.
We'd like to tell you a bit about the ways we are maximising the campus for outdoor learning and sustainability. We'd like to explain how rewilding in the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration can be one of the ways to do it.
This was a Learning for Sustainability meme in 2020. I put this up as a starter because it sums up the fundamental concerns for the future the subject has and how COVID and now recession has taken our eyes off the biggest concerns. Climate change and biodiversity collapse. Obviously, such a topic must be tackled both urgently and sensibly. We need teachers to engage pupils in meaningful responses.
When we go outside, we have to think about safety. Is it safe to grow biodiversity on our campus? Every tree we plant will fall down one day. Trees falling down kill 6 people in the UK per year. For decades, the unlikely but easily imagined trees falling on pupils has put us off planting trees on our campuses. We need to assess risk rationally, and for that we need health science research.
Health science research suggests it's probably safer to increase biodiversity when we compare the risks against the benefits, the ecosystem services.
What are ecosystem services?
Ecosystem services are what an environment does for those who live there, just by being there. This tree on this diagram has about 20 ecosystem services for humans. One of them is filtering the air because of the way leaves, lichen and bark provide huge surface areas of microfilters. This prevents people breathing in so much dust and pollution. Compared to the 6 killed by trees in the UK, bad though that is, the number killed by air pollution is between 28,000 and 36,000 people. Worldwide, the number is 10 million, and without the ecosystem services of trees, it would be even more. It's hard to believe that having trees is safer than open ground. However, that is what is being said in health science research.
This is our partner school in India. It has a really healthy atmosphere. It is amazing all the ecosystem services it has. The trees are huge and close to the school. There's greenery, shade, shelter, colour, windbreaks, soundproofing, air filtration, dust absorption, protection from direct sunlight and so on. And 8,000 pupils enjoy it. We're making it our business to install ecosystem services at my school, and we are working with Dundee University School of Health to develop a research proposal on our site about how installing better ecosystem services can contribute to improved community health and be a valuable educational experience. We're not really qualified to say much more on health science research, but we would encourage you to have a look, for example, at the SPHSU website. The Social and Public Health Sciences Unit at Glasgow University has a lot to say about the connection between the ecosystem services and places and health.
Thinking with ecosystem services is a way of appreciating the value that the environment can give to a place, its people and its resources. We are in an economic recession, so using the growth of nature is a cheap way to create value. Permaculture is something you may or may not already know. We'll be describing it later. Rewilding is a really exciting topic that I want to tell you about the most. Rewilding is a new science. It's all about bringing back nature and restoring biodiversity and healthy populations of wildlife. How else can we grow our ecosystem services?
We'd like to show you our school. This is one of the few pictures I'm going to show you that's not pretty. Leavenmouth Academy serves one of the most deprived areas in Scotland. Our school opened in 2016 and the outdoor project started in 2017. We want to tell you the story of how we are maximising the outdoor environment for outdoor learning with Outdoor Learning.
We would like to start further back in time to give you a better overview. There wasn't a school here at all in 1945. These areas are tree plantations, an attempt to do something with the spoil heaps of discarded material from local coal mines. Our school campus isn't built on a spoil heap, it's built on a lot of spoil heaps. At 45 acres, we have one of the largest footprints of all the schools.
Here's the old school. Bockhaven High School was built in 1957, and in 2016 the school was knocked down, and as usually happens in school builds, the rubble was bulldozed into the site.
It became Leavenmouth Academy, 1,600 pupils and 130 teachers at a cost of £44 million from the Scottish Futures Trust.
The new school decided to take off the 5 acres on the left side and make some woodland. Everyone knew the soil was poor, so clover was planted to improve the soil, and a year later 5,000 trees were planted. The trees came with wooden stakes and plastic tree guards. That was the plan, and we saw how it went. This is what we learned.
We learnt that some local people use the tree stakes to make fires. Hundreds of stakes are gathered and burnt every year. We learnt that deer kill unprotected young trees by munching on them and rubbing their antlers on them.
We learned that planting clover makes the thistles grow like mad. We learnt that giant thistles suck the life out of small trees, especially in long dry summers.
We learnt that only 10% of the trees planted in 2017 are still alive. These tree guards have stood here with nothing on them for 5 years. This is what we learned. Now I want to tell you about what we did.
The first thing the pupils planted was a circle of goat willow to make an outdoor classroom. We really wanted to get the trees growing fast because there was literally nothing there.
We used a permaculture idea called a hugel. A hugel is a hill of biodegradable fibres buried for the roots to exploit. We created a spongy reservoir of water underground for the trees so they would grow fast.
Here are some snaps of the hugel hoop over the last 6 years, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 during COVID, 2021 and 2022. Permaculture got our trees growing fast, while elsewhere trees struggled.
Nature Scott's We Forest project uses a very similar method, but it involves using a JCB digging down 80 centimetres and adding lots of nutrients and wood chip mulch. Pupils marked out the area before the JCB arrived. We planted a wee forest in the park next door to the school. We made a video of the planting day to share with the world. The We Forest project encourages citizen science by attempting to prove it works by measuring the trees.
How did the trees do?
We are happy to report that the trees survived the long, hot, dry summer. The deer and other young vandals.
Our place, as we've said, is a former spoil heap, a former tree plantation, made up land. Take a look around. There's not much to see here.
The mines are gone, the plantation is mostly gone, the soil is mostly rubble, clay and bits of the old school. Our outdoor environment should be a health intervention for our pupils, but it lacks an array of ecosystem services that needs to be healthy. Until there are meaningful ecosystem services, our outdoor learning projects will be health interventions, to create a healthy outdoor environment for pupils to be in.
Now, for a little winter drone flight, I'll try to point some things out as we fly through. The footage is already 2 years old, December 2020.
At this end of Batswood, we have a few box beds. We have an orchard with 200 fruit trees. You can see where there is winter flooding, which has killed some of the old plantation trees, a result of disturbing the clay soil during the new school build. We thought with surface drainage, we dug damp ditches for diversity, we landscaped and experimented and engineered. We made lots of paths. We planted things in shapes. We installed this green shipping container as our base. We looked after compost heaps. There's our hugel hoop. More box beds. We got old sewage pipes as large gardening pots. Made a cold frame for little plants. And a wormery. Dens. And so on.
The clay is like rock in summer, but it doesn't manage the rain very well either. The water just slides off, creating flooding that kill trees. Missing from our ecosystem are natural engineers like worms, moles and beavers that hold the water up. We made a video called Becoming Beavers in Batswood about how we need to manage water better. We built ditches that went nowhere. We built dams that leaked because beaver dams leak. We disturb for diversity. We are beavers when Batswood needs beaver work.
Beavers without rivers are strange beavers indeed. To slow the water down, we made terraces like contours. This irrigates the trees in the dry parts and prevents them from drowning in the marshy parts.
We learned that sometimes to stop bad floods, we must create more floods. The paradoxical nature of solving flooding with more flooding becomes easier to understand when we think about sharing the flood, rather than sending it down to someone unlucky below.
Thanks to the beavers, we now have a source of water most of the year. This affords us the successful planting of living willow projects. They need regular watering to get them established.
This structure is called a fedge, a living fence hedge, and it appears to be deer-proof somehow, and people really like it. It affords a nice path for relaxed walking, a windbreak, it feels safe, and it is a cue of care. It shows that something nice is here.
We also learned that willow is fed to the giraffes at Edinburgh Zoo. We are growing willow and finding out what counts as lunch for a giraffe. One day we'll take willow to feed the giraffes in the zoo.
We've constructed gateways, maintained box beds, planted trees and grown community fruit.
We've explored our ecosystem, we've foraged for wild food, eaten nettles and sorrel, identified bugs and flowers, pruned trees and picked fruit. This year we grew loads of good plums. In fact, they were so good that someone came and picked them all before we did.
When the school first started in 2016, our first problem, as the local press kept telling us, was litter. It remained a massive problem in all schools.
Strong winds cleared the trash across our empty playing fields and pin it to the fence. Clearing all that up feels like community payback.
After a little rewilding of our campus, the long grass catches the litter and stops it blowing away.
We learned that rewilding makes litter picking more fun, because hunting litter through the long grass doesn't feel like community payback. Litter picking in the right conditions is an excellent citizenship activity.
This cherry tree has seen some changes. Remember, it was part of the plantation over 80 years ago. It's stunted and small because of the soil.
What ecosystem services can we identify here? Maybe a little shade? Plus I know that it produces excellent cherries every July. For as long as anyone can remember, a tractor has mowed the grass all around it 14 times per year. A boring, noisy, expensive, destructive soil compacting and gas guzzling process. We stopped cutting the grass and now we've got 10 acres of rewilded lands to explore.
We can identify a lot more ecosystem services in long grass and scrub, climate mitigation, cooler soil temperatures in summer, warmer in winter, dust capture, insect life and scented flowers, bird song and calming grasshopper sounds. A nice place to sit and have a picnic. And protection from motorbikes. That's actually a real thing. The list goes on. And now we see new cherry trees popping up all around the old cherry tree.
We think every school should support the Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. Hopefully it gets more followers than our Scruffy Spots website. We've had no success scaling up our work to other schools, unfortunately.
This is the last wee project before I stop. At last, a bit of human culture. The Friends of Silverburn Park is a local charity. We like their style.
They are restoring a flax mill, and so they are growing flax and creating employment access opportunities for young people. It's a £7 million project, 5 miles from our school.
Flax is easy to grow and harvest. You can make rope, linen and linseed oil with it. Flax, the flax mill and its spin-off industries could be a good educational resource. So maybe we could grow our own flax.
So far, so good. We have dug a permaculture hugel to grow a hedge around the flax field, and we have some adult volunteers and a local farmer to help us plant the flax in spring of 2023. Thanks to the initial rewilding, we have some freedom to experiment, because there's no danger a tractor will come and flatten everything. But hopefully, this is the start of a properly protected garden area for flax growing and other outdoor learning projects.
To sum up, the maximisation of ecosystem services in our outdoor environment is of great value to education and community health. The new science of rewilding, advances in health science and the move to increase outdoor learning affords new ways to think with schools as places facing climate change and biodiversity collapse. The UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration has 8 more years to go. Even in this recession, it's full of opportunities for growth. We hope you enjoyed this talk about how to maximise the outdoor environment, both for and through outdoor learning. Thank you.
Rewilding for a Healthier School was created by Sonny Anderson, Katie Goodwin, Rhiannon Grant, Bethany Downs and Duncan Zool at Leavemouth Academy in December 2022.